Grinders, welcome to RotoGrinders Today. I'm Jordan Cooper, aka BlenderHD, BlenderHD. You're gonna follow me on Twitter, and it's Wednesday, November 20th. We'll be taking a first look at the NFL Week 2 DFS slate on DraftKings. So hit that thumbs up button on your way in the door. Give me those thumbs. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell to always know when we go live. Remember, later today we got NBA. Crunch time, we got Grinders Live, that's all 5 o'clock Eastern, all the way leading up until lock. So tune in then. And we have a combo light package now. If you want to get all 4 major sports, get SimLabs, our simulation product, to build your lineups, as you saw yesterday with me and Tim showing off SimLabs for NBA. Get that now. It's one low price. It's like $39.99. You get all of our premium content plus SimLabs. You don't get access to all the tools, but you kind of get a smaller package there. So click on that link in the description for that information. But we're going to talk about NFL Week 2 right now. Midweek, we still got practice reports, and and we don't have value opens up or stuff. 10-game slate, and I have Alex Santi on with me. We still got bye weeks, so this is it's smaller. It's 10 games. It's not like, small, but smaller slate. And the gap between football teams gets wider and wider as the season goes on. We got a bunch of pretty heavy favorites on the slate, some high team totals, right? We got Kansas City with a 27-point implied team total. We got Detroit, 29-point implied team total. Washington, 28 against Dallas. A whole bunch of touchdown plus favored teams on the slate. And we're going to be talking primarily about, top projected plays, right? I don't want to call it like a cash game lineup, but just like who stands out to be the highest, like projected raw point / point per dollar plays right now. The people, the types of players that you should be, focusing, building most of your lineup around. And then you get different a little bit later. And that's what we'll be talking about on Friday. So Alex, let's start a quarterback. We'll go position by, and obviously we'll touch on some slate dynamics here as we go on. The Cowboys are bad now.
Horrendous.
Washington has a 28-point implied team total. I'm looking at our current projections, which is just obviously Wednesday. These are just like initial projections. I feel like if I have the money, I want to play Jaden Daniels at 7K this week.
His median is like 3.5x right now, which is pretty good. It's pretty good for a quarterback. The argument against it, the argument for it is obvious. The guy can do a lot of things. He can score many points in many different ways. The Cowboys stink. They can't hold on to the ball on offense. So that means Washington should get a lot of plays in. The argument against it is Jaden hasn't passed 21 points in like 3 weeks. And is there an opportunity cost? Is there a great opportunity cost to playing or not playing Jaden Daniels? Looking at the optimal right now, Jaden Daniels isn't in the optimal right now. I think we can. Okay, so also in the optimal, we'll get to lineup construction, is 2 Bears wide receivers. And you take, okay. I'm thinking thing.
The dynamics, as I said about the dynamics of the slate, is that the value right now, this is obviously before, 17 people are on the injury report and someone's not practicing and who the hell knows. The value on this slate is not at wide receiver. Like, no. That when you mention like the Bears receivers are in the optimal right now, it's because like the wide receiver position is priced pretty efficiently. Like everyone is projected in their range of salary. So it's just a matter of, well, if everyone's projected within the range, so you could play a $4,800 Bears wide receiver and it's not much different. You're not like saving points compared to other positions. Compared to running back or quarterback or even tight end or DST this week, that it's when you're solving for median, you're just going to end up, it's going to eat the extra points at the positions like quarterback or running back. Like, you're much more likely to pay up at running back when salary adjusted plus minus is 3, 4, 5 points compared to wide receivers, which right now there's like none that are like over a point or two salary adjusted value plus minus. That's why I said,
Well,
if I'm able to pay up for
you're able
Jaden
to,
Daniels, I would
yes,
like to.
of course.
But the problem is that if I'm not a big fan of playing 4K, 5K wide receivers that their median may be like 11 or 12, but it's
We're looking
really
at like
the
12.
range of outcomes is much wider. I mean, these are people that could get 4 points. I mean, like
4 points.
like
Even the ceilings, because it's 3 ways, and I mean, this is just talking Chicago situation, but the Chicago situation is like between Roma Dunze and Keenan Allen. I mean, which one of those guys are going to score 25? Probably neither. So we're not. So we got to get rewarded twice on low, really low floor plays. And the big gorilla in the room is we're paying up at running back. We're paying for running backs. We're going to pay.
well, we're paying we're probably playing twice. I don't know if you have to pay 3 times.
I don't think you have to pay 3 times either, but we're still going to pay like $23,000 at running back. So
I'll make a case at running back, but maybe you don't even have to pay up twice.
Oh, because you go Connor and Robinson and with McCaffrey or H.N. instead of McCaffrey and H.N. We'll get to that. Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. I would rather sticking to quarterback. I think I ran an optimal with the optimal said Jaden Daniels. I ran an optimal with Bo Nix. I ran an optimal with Bo Nix, and it's kind of the same thing. And you get an upgrade at wide receiver. I mean, the upgrade is Jacoby Myers, which is not fun. But I'd rather play Jacoby Myers over 2 Bears wide receivers. And then I did it with Tua, and you replace both wide receivers, both Bears wide receivers, with Jacoby Myers and Calvin Ridley. I don't think I would play Tua and catch. I think I'd go more to Bo Nix in that situation. But I want to get one of those Bears wide receivers. I can't play both of them together. And I can't see anyone else under 5K to replace them with. So I feel like I got to go over 5K. So to go over 5K, I feel like I got to save a little bit of quarterback.
Well, I mean, if I'm not going to play Daniels as of right now, I mean, I'm a heuristic that I like using, especially, when they're available and they're in the price range, is quarterbacks that could get points in a multitude of ways. So like Jaden Daniels, obviously, 40 yards rushing and a touchdown, even if he doesn't get the touchdown, the extra, rushing yards helps. And we have 2 other quarterbacks that are cheaper that have the same dynamic. And one is Kyler Murray at 6,200 going into Seattle. I'm not scared about their defense. The Cardinals are actually they're 1-point dogs, but with a 23-point implied team total. I don't mind Kyler Murray at 6,200. I think I'd rather play him over Bo Nix. And then you also have Anthony Richardson at 5,600. The problem is that they're a touchdown underdog at home, and you could say, well, he's got to throw the ball most of the game to keep up with the Lions, but I'm not a huge fan of in cash games playing teams that are big underdogs.
It's a big underdog spot too,
right? But he is upside there. I think truthfully, I think the quote safest play on the board. It's weird to say he's the safest play when you think that he has the ceiling outcome is you play Patrick Mahomes at 6,800. And I don't, his fate, they're going to Carolina with a 27-point implied team total. Is he going to score 30 plus fantasy points? I don't think so, but is he going to score anything less than 16 to 18? But probably not. He probably nice, safe 18 to 20 points. No problem. But if I have the 200, I'm just going to play Jaden Daniels.
Of course. If I have this 200, if something opens up value-wise, I'm going to Jaden Daniels, no doubt. The Mahomes play isn't bad if you just need the $200. Is Patrick Mahomes that much better this week? I mean, forget skill, but just speaking DFS-wise, is he that much better than Jared Goff this week? If we're going to pinch for a couple $100, Is he that much worse than, or is he that much better than
I mean,
Jared Goff
truthfully,
this week?
is he that much worse than Bo Nix and Tua? Bo Nix against the Raiders or Tua against the Patriots? I mean, like,
Yeah,
I'm not stating the case that I'm playing Patrick Mahomes in cash, but I'll find the $200 to get Jaden Daniels.
I will too.
I just
I'm
I
not saying
think
I'll
that
play Jared Goff. I'm saying I would find the money for Jaden Daniels and not pay Jared
right,
Goff. But
right.
if I'm
But
going to pinch,
right, well, the point that I'm making is that if I don't play Jaden Daniels, I don't think I'm playing a 6K quarterback at all. Like, I think Kyler
exactly.
Murray is like that. Like 800 is enough of a gap that I could see myself playing Murray. But like, I think I'm much more likely to pay up for Daniels or go down to Anthony Richardson. Obviously, you got Geno
Mhm.
Smith there at 5,700. I think he's another like kind of like quote
Safe.
safe-ish
Yeah, safer.
type of
Yeah.
play. And then let's talk about if you really want to go down. Daniel Jones is out at for the Giants.
No.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that the Giants team total is actually higher than the Panthers, than the Bears, than the Titans, than the Cowboys, than the Raiders, right? And yeah, I'm not saying that I would want to play the quarterback for any of those teams, but the Giants have an 18.25 implied team total, and Tommy DeVito is 4K. My problem with Tommy DeVito, obviously, is number one, he sucks.
He's
And
Tommy DeVito.
right, he played 6 games last year, and like only once threw over 200 yards. I think they're much more likely. Like it's a weird situation here. I understand why the projection is going to look decent on DeVito because he gets dinged because the Giants, historically, with him at least last year, not going to allow him to have that many dropbacks, right? But the problem is that the Buccaneers are much
who are they
more
going to
likely
run with?
Well, you got Tracy, right? You got Tracy there, right? They could Tracy, Singletary, right? Little short passes, screen passes, stuff like that. But the Buccaneers are also a team that allow you to pass on them a lot more.
They do. They do.
So
yeah, that's a good point.
At 4K,
I saw Kirk Cousins throw for 509. So
right. So like, are you willing to? I mean, if you want to pay up for 3 running backs, and or let's say you want to pay up for 2 running backs and play a Justin Jefferson or something like that, like you could play Tommy DeVito, especially at wide. Like when we get to wide receiver, you'll see that like in order to get like to feel comfortable, you want to get up to more 6K, 7K wide receivers.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do that while still paying up a running back, at least in one spot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the way that it makes it happen is you punt the tight end, and that we do have a punt tight end this week.
We're gonna do, yeah.
And then you could punt the quarterback at 4K. I mean, I'm mentioning it under the guise of it being viable. Will I do it as of right now? No. I'm not.
Then we agree. I have a question for you, just being Tommy DeVito ignorant. Does he run the football?
Not on purpose. He's running for his life. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's running on purpose.
If he will run the football, he gets viable at 4K.
Yeah, but I think it's scrambles. I think he's.
It's just it's not designed runs.
He got sacked like 17 trillion times last year. So like, I mean,
it's viable. I mean, if we were talking about 45-year-old Ryan Fitzpatrick or something who has no chance to scramble and get out.
I'll play him at 4K.
Well, I'd play him at 4K right now over Tommy DeVito. But okay. Let's move on to running back. I don't want to talk about Tommy DeVito.
Okay, running back.
I think we're done.
I'm going to make the case by the end of it that you don't have to pay up at running back. But let's start from the top. Christian McCaffrey, 8,500. He's the highest raw point projected running back on the slate. The 49ers don't look that good. They're actually a dog on the road to the Packers and they only have a 22.5 implied team total. Purdy's shoulder's hurt. I mean, we have to see whether or not Purdy even plays, right? I mean, I think McCaffrey is fine. I prefer Devon Achane at 7,500. Miami have a 26.5 implied team total at home as a touchdown favorite. They're really only using Mostert on like third down. I mean, they're like, this is more of Achan's backfield than even with Jalen Wright kind of coming in. Yeah, he may get cucked at the goal line a time or two, but I mean, he's getting like 7-8 targets and 20 carry, he's getting like almost 25 touches a game in this role. Like I would almost say that if I had to choose between a $7,500 Achan or $8,500 McCaffrey, I think I'm playing Achan over McCaffrey. But you're going to say that we should be playing both of them.
I think that was my first inkling because the optimal was going there, but I can see because we have Connor in the Brian Robinson situation against Dallas that we don't have to do that. To Achan though, in Tua started 6 games. He has 39 targets in those 6 games. And recently, in the beginning of the season, we were talking about Achan as like, the touches are capped. Can we really play him in cash? That's what we were talking about week 1, you and I. Now, in the last couple of weeks, we've seen 21 touches, 17 touches, 20, 16, 17, and that's with Tua back. So we can safely put him in that volume range. And the Dolphins need to win. The Dolphins can't F around here. The Dolphins need to win football games. They can't take the foot off the gas. They can't get cute with running Mostert up the middle and stretch plays for 3 or 4 yards. Like they need points. And so I do prefer Achan over McCaffrey. My first inkling was to go with the optimal and go with both. But looking at this wide receiver situation and the fact that, we'll get to Connor and Robinson in a second, that they're in really good spots too. They project really well. Sure, why not? We could fade McCaffrey in cash and go with Achan and one of those and those other 2 guys. McCaffrey. We shouldn't poo-poo that McCaffrey still might be $500 too cheap and that he could get 30 touches, but Devin Achan might be $1K too cheap right here.
Right. Well, also, I mean, the point that I'm trying to reiterate, and I'm not saying McCaffrey's bad, and I'm not saying that I'm not going to play him at 8,500, is that typically we see the 49ers when they have a 26, 27, 28 point implied team total as favorites.
That's a good point.
Right? And they have a 22. I mean, 22 and a half implied team total is less than the Buccaneers. Is not much different than some of these teams, like then the Colts or the Broncos. The Broncos have a high. The Cardinals have a higher implied team total as a dog than the 49ers as a dog. And we have James Conner there at 6,500 against Seattle. He's never exciting to play, but for cash games, he's going to probably touch the ball 25 times.
He gets the ball. He gets the ball.
Right.
It's ball in hand with running backs. Ball in hand, decent blocking. Why not?
And he gets the goal, and he gets the goal line carry.
Yeah.
Outside of the bootleg Kyler Murray touchdowns, and then you have Brian Robinson at 5,600 against the Cowboys' run defense. The Commanders have a 28-point implied team total. Like, you could play if you play Jaden Daniels and Brian Robinson. It's like, well, I'm just betting on the Commanders, and I don't care where the touchdowns come from, but as long as they're inside the 5, one of these 2 guys is probably getting the touchdown. Obviously, he gives up some of the work to Austin Eckler. So, but he's also 5,600. And the Commanders have the second highest implied team total on the entire slate.
And big favorites.
Right. And he's probably still going to touch the ball 15, 17, 18 times.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not
Connor. 20 times.
Right. So I think there are plenty of lineups that you can make with like Achan, Connor, Robinson, where you don't have to like punt at like a weird 4K wide receiver. And then you look at your lineup and be like, I don't mind this that much. As long as McCaffrey doesn't like get 2 or 3 touchdowns or like 10 receptions, and I don't mind. And if you can, and if you want to just play McCaffrey over Achane for the 1,000, that's fine. I'm more scared of fading Achane than fading McCaffrey, truthfully.
At that price, yeah. So
Right.
just again, not to skip ahead, but talking about lineup construction, Juwan Jennings is still 5,600. Do I want to play two 49ers only implied for under 23 points? If we're
Right.
going to get to Juwan Jennings, I don't think we can. I think it's just a stupid lineup construction to go with McCaffrey and to playing two 49ers with that low implied total. I think that's kind of bad. And if we can save the money and get up to Jennings, I would rather go the Jennings route with Connor, Achane, Robinson. So I'm running, I just ran another optimal, locking in B-Rob and Connor, and it tells me to fade McCaffrey. It tells me to pay up for Jaden Daniels. It tells me to go to Devon Achane instead of Christian McCaffrey. And then our wide receivers are Sutton and Jennings, which I just talked about. And it leaves us 7K for a wide receiver.
Right. Beautiful.
Yeah. Leave us
Right.
7K for a wide receiver.
And
that's a pretty good build.
I also want to use this as a. This may be the oddest. If you told me I would say this in the beginning of the season, you'd think I would be nuts. It's quite possible that given the choice between McCaffrey or Joe Mixon at 8K, the Texans have a 25-point implied team total as over a touchdown favorite against the Titans. Would you be shocked if Joe Mixon touched the ball 35 times this game?
Absolutely not. They want to run the football.
Right.
They are there to. Houston is there to beat up on shitty teams and run the football down their throat. And they're not doing it with Damian Pierce and Dare Agumbawale. They're not doing it with those guys. They're doing it with Joe Mixon. So
right,
yeah,
I would not be surprised if Joe Mixon had a game that was like 28 rushes for 117 yards with with 3 touchdowns, and then like 3 for 22 through the air, and you're sitting there going, why didn't we play Joe Mixon when the Texans are a big favorite? And especially if we see if Nico Collins, if he ends up being out based on the previous, I mean he's banged up. But even so,
Mixon got 4 targets. Mixon got 4 targets against the Cowboys with Nico out there.
Right.
So I mean he's getting targets because he's just out there so much. He's not, a great receiving running back. He's not Ray Rice, but but he's out there so much that he's going to get some balls.
I have one last question about running back, and these are the top play running backs. Well, we'll talk about GPP stuff on Friday. One thing I noticed.
I've got 3 quick notes on running back that we did not touch on.
Okay, so well, I have one big one, and maybe I'm just behind the loop because remember this is first look. I kind of just I wipe away everything. Is Isaiah Pacheco coming back this week?
He's projected. That was one of the points I wanted to hit on because
my first Alex, my first thought, because I didn't know. I'm like, if Pacheco's out, Kareem Hunt is $5,700.
$5,700
against the Panthers when the Chiefs have a 27-point implied total. My first thought is Kareem Hunt is the first guy in my lineup. And then when I went to lineup HQ and I'm like, where is Kareem Hunt? And why does he project so badly? And then it's like, oh, I see Isaiah Pacheco is there.
Is projected. We've had a flow chart all season of who do we play at running back? Who are the Panthers playing? Put in that running back. That's been working all season. And with Bryce Young under center, they're not going to have the ball very much. The Chiefs defense is pretty good. The Chiefs could run 65 plays here. So yeah, no, I'm with you. If Pacheco plays, we're talking tournaments for Hunt because we could be talking about the more physical goal line stuff, possible 2-3 touchdown stuff. That's more of a tournament play. But
do you think if Pacheco plays, they're going to split the backfield, or are they just going to run with one of them?
I don't think they're going to run with one of them. I think both of them have their volume capped if they both play.
Okay. So what other notes do you have at running back?
This happens every week, and the Lions. Last week I ended up playing David Montgomery to save some money, and the Lions are giving both of those guys enough touches to get there because they're getting up by so many points that sure, it's a split backfield, but they're splitting like 35 touches a game. I'm not sure I would play David Montgomery this week, but Jahmyr Gibbs is like a touchdown machine. They put those guys in situations to score touchdowns. So we get our splash plays out of both of those guys. Given the opportunity cost, I'm not playing either of them, but I exclude guys from my lists just to, inside baseball. I'm not excluding them from my lists right now.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, the thing about the Lions running backs is that for cash games, I take them out of contention because like the volume isn't necessarily there, and you don't know where it's going to go. So, like, yeah, GPP, sure, but I'm not putting a $7,300 Jahmyr Gibbs in my cash lineup. But
no,
the Lions are always in play for any lineup in general for GPPs.
And I mean, they're huge favorites in the dome. They're big favorites in the dome. Again, I'm not. There's an opportunity cost there with James Conner and Brian Robinson, and if Pacheco doesn't play, Kareem Hunt. But David Montgomery isn't it isn't a stupid play. If you're playing 3-mans, 5-mans instead, I don't think it's a stupid play at all.
Do you think it's not a stupid play? We didn't mention him. He may be the cheapest running back that I would play, and I think it's possible cash viable. Javonte Williams at 5,200.
That was my third note.
Saw Estime
what's going on with Denver?
Right, and kind of just go away. He played in garbage time mostly. The Broncos have a healthy implied team total, right? The Broncos are sitting 23.25 implied team total. They're playing indoors. They're a 5.5 point favorite. The only thing I would say about not putting them in my cash lineup is you never know when they're just going to go back to Estime, right? So, like, you don't necessarily need to risk it there. But $5,200, if he gets 20 touches, I mean, that may be the best value on the board.
Yeah, my three questions were Chiefs backfield situations, Lions backfield situations, and Broncos. Because Broncos, Sean Payton is known for splitting his backfields a lot when he was in New Orleans, but when he has big leads, he likes to feed one guy. It was Mark Ingram for a while. And I don't think Audric Estime, we brought him up last week, but he's not running away with this job. So yeah, Javonte Williams at 5,200, if you really don't want to spend, if you want to get up to a couple of the wide receivers we might touch on, he's not a bad play. I don't know if I would play him over Connor. Again, there's the opportunity cost, but it's totally viable to go with Achane, Javonte, and B-Rob and spend up on a wide receiver if you want to spend up on a wide receiver.
Right. Let's talk about wide receivers. I'm not sure you need to spend up on a wide receiver. I mean, we have.
I don't think you need to either, but if you want to.
Right. We got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson up there, Nico Collins, CeeDee Lamb is 73. You got guys that are like Malik Neighbors, 7,400, but with Tommy DeVito at quarterback, no. Yeah, I don't think so. CeeDee Lamb with Cooper Rush at quarterback as a big dog, low implied team total. Nope. No. Tyreek is viable, but I don't. They're not running the Dolphins aren't running the offense the way that they did last year. Mike Evans is probably going to be back for the Buccaneers. I think that's okay, but you don't know how active he's going to be, even if he is back. And then we get into like McLaurin, who's not a cash play, and Metcalf probably not either. Debo is, I know. Tank Dell probably not. You're getting down into like all the quote value is in this like 5K, 6K type of range. And I think the best out of the bunch is Cortland Sutton at 5,800. I think I would like to play, if possible, I want to play Cortland Sutton at 5,800 and Jawan Jennings at 5,600.
Yes.
And whatever the rest of my, if I have to play a wide receiver I don't like, if I have to play a Keenan Allen, Bears wide receiver, or Jacoby Myers, or a Calvin Ridley, or something like that in that spot, or actually, there's one guy that I'm surprised he's not projecting better that I'd like to put in that spot, but we'll talk about him in a second. But I feel like I don't want to get like fives at wide receiver. It's like I want to I want to get people that either are going to go 6 for 70 or at least get a touch, be in a high implied team total game that is going to get a touchdown. I don't want to have these punt wide receivers in my lineup. And this is the main reason why the talking point of do you need McCaffrey is there. Because if we had 4K wide receivers that are great values, then I'd be like, okay, just plug in McCaffrey, HN, and Connor, and you're done. And just don't worry about it.
So a lot of people played Kayshon Boutte. I didn't, so I went to a lot of 3-mans and 5-mans because he had 6 targets 3 straight weeks. Quarterbacking still matters. Malik Neighbors, we brushed him off. He's a fine talent. Malik Neighbors is projecting well. He has a lot of talent as an individual person, but he has Tommy DeVito throwing him footballs. Who else is there this week? Jacoby Myers, he's a decent talent. It looks like a good value. The projection looks good. But he still has Gardner Minshew throwing him footballs. Like, these things matter, especially in cash. When we can have Jawan Jennings, we don't know what Pretty Shoulder is like, but it's a better situation for him to catch footballs. Cortland Sutton's in a better situation to catch footballs. And Tyreek Hill, the risk isn't on the injury report anymore. If we have the money, if some value opens up, if we want to go cheaper at two running backs under 6K, and we have the 7K, 7,200 to spend on Mike Evans or Tyreek Hill, that's not really a terrible spot to go to. I mean, the problem with Tyreek Hill is we haven't seen it this season, but we know what Tyreek Hill can do, and what Tyreek Hill can do is worth a lot more than 7,200.
Well, if I want to play 3 5K wide receivers, I mentioned Sutton. I think he's in the best spot against the Raiders. Inside, Bo Nix throwing the ball, 23-point implied total. I think he's going to be chalky. I think Juwan Jennings at 5,600, he's going to be chalky. The guy that I thought would project a little bit better, I understand why he doesn't, because the way this offense runs could go kind of all over the place. But Kansas City has a 27-point implied team total.
Totally agree with you here.
And DeAndre Hopkins
I totally agree with you here.
5,400. And I know the offense is like Juju's in sometimes, or sometimes it all goes to Kelsey. Sometimes Kareem Hunt's running the ball. I just think the Chiefs are going to put up 4 touchdowns. Even if Hopkins only, like, I view a $5,400 DeAndre Hopkins as either he goes like 6 for 60, or he goes like 3 for 23 and has like 2 touchdowns because he got the red zone targets. When I side on these, like, if I like, would you rather play Jacoby Myers or Keenan Allen or Michael Pittman or DeAndre Hopkins? It's like, I'm playing the Chiefs wide receiver against the Panthers. Like, come on.
The argument against Hopkins is we don't know how much he's going to get onto the field. But if you want to get a guy acclimated in the offense, because it's tough for these wide receivers to change offenses midseason. This is just really hard and sometimes in DFS we kind of forget that we just go for the talent of the guy and the situation. But if you want to get a guy acclimated to the offense, why not against the Panthers? Get this guy 8 solid routes to get 6-7 targets as a first read. This is the situation to do it. You want to get this guy ready for the playoffs and, in the offense, get him with the feel for the ball, all these intangible, blah, 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 mystical things. This is the spot to do it. So, I'm totally with you on the Hopkins. I understand why Hopkins is priced the way he is, because he could just not get the ball very much. He could not be on the field very much. But again, Andy Reid's a smart guy. He probably wants DeAndre Hopkins to be a weapon in January. Why not start greasing those wheels right now?
Right, and DeAndre Hopkins isn't gonna forget where his feet are on a pass like Xavier Worthy.
Yeah,
I want to go back to Evans. You mentioned before about you threw in a lineup, and if you play a little bit cheaper running backs and you avoid the Bears wide receivers and stuff, you get 7K left for a wide receiver. If word is out that Mike Evans is completely healthy, and that's never completely healthy for Mike Evans is still like 85% because he's never completely healthy.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers are favored. They're facing a decent Giants defense, but I mean, this Tommy DeVito, quarterback, could be 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And the Buccaneers have like no one to pass the ball. I mean, it's like they've shown over the past 5 games that like without Godwin and Evans, it's a cluster of like, yes, Shepard, I guess, McMillan and Raheem Jarrett, and obviously Kate Otten became a thing, but only because who else are you throwing the ball to? Mike Evans' target share in this game must be insane if he's going to be
I was just about to say,
the only real receiver out there.
Mike Evans can miss a third of his targets and still get 7 or 8 catches in this game.
Right.
Because of the target tree and how things are going to be distributed by Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is he's a quarterback who, like, when he has to, he can be a gunslinger and it's very dangerous. But his game plan is to find guys who he trusts to catch the ball. And without Chris Godwin there, that really only leaves one guy. It's Mike Evans. So I think this is a monster target week for Mike Evans. It's the question of how good are the balls going to be and how many of them will he catch? Can he get yards after the catch? All that stuff. Whatever. I think he's going to get
I think he's going to get 10. Question, Alex.
I think it's going to be. I think
is he fully healthy? You could tell me that, like, oh sure, yeah, he'll get great target share when he's out there and he plays 35% of the snaps because they're working him back in and he's not like 100% healthy. I don't want to pay $7,000 for a guy that's going to only be out there for a third of the snaps. But that's why the caveat was, if it comes out that's like, no, he's going to go out and he's going to be playing
like no injury designation. Yeah.
Right.
Like full practice, no injury designation.
No, fully participated in practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, like full. And it's like, okay, is $7,000? I mean, you could tell me that he's maybe the best receiver on the board.
Well, this is where I go back to and why I brought him up, even though he's been disappointing this season, why I brought up Tyreek Hill. Because Tyreek Hill, if he's fully practicing and he has no injury designation and they're huge favorites against the Patriots, it's a similar spot with even more upside. And it's only like $200 more. So I think you could flip a coin between those two if you can spend up to it. I don't want to poo-poo and totally ignore Amon-Ra St. Brown because he just gets a lot of balls. I don't know where we're going to find the money. But this is the if something opens up, as something probably will on Friday or Saturday. I don't think I would play Amon-Ra St. Brown over McCaffrey, but there's so many running backs that I think the opportunity, I don't know where there's big opportunity costs to spend over $8,000 on anyone, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, if we can, that's a big if we can spend more than $7,500 on a wide receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown is the guy.
Well, one way we could spend up at wide receiver is that we punt at tight end. And the punt tight end this week is going to, the super punt tight end is going to be Luke Schoonmaker for the Cowboys, assuming that, I mean, Jake Ferguson got a concussion. And other than, I think
it was Monday night, right?
Yeah, it was Monday night.
Monday night concussion. He's not playing.
A Monday night concussion. He ain't playing. I mean, like,
yeah.
We're under the assumption he ain't play. Obviously, you don't play Schoonmaker if Ferguson somehow passes the protocol and plays. But Schoonmaker's 2,500. He's gonna be out there with what, like Span Ford. Also, they have another tight end there. But yeah, I mean, they're gonna be down. I mean, they're 11.5 point underdogs. They're 10.5 point underdogs. Is Schoonmaker gonna catch a touchdown? Maybe not. I mean, if you could get 4 for 40 out of him for 2,500. You're good, right? But I mean,
also bad quarterbacks and rookie quarterbacks will use tight ends as their security blankets very often. Cooper Rush is a bad quarterback, so he's one of the 60 best in the world at it. Congratulations, his mother should be very proud of him, but he sucks in the NFL. And we actually saw it against the Texans when he tried to force CeeDee Lamb the ball. He just can't get the ball downfield accurately. So he ended up checking down to like 3 different tight ends, I think it was, and throwing screens to Turpin and Tolbert. Like, it's not a downfield game. It plays pretty well for Schoonmaker to have, like you're saying, a 4 for 40, 4 for 50. I don't think Cooper Rush can throw in a red zone touchdown to a tight end in traffic, but I don't think that's going to matter.
I mean, if I had the money and I had the extra money, I mean, getting up to a Ertz or a Henry or Jonnu Smith, like
I would
is
pay. I would.
fine.
Okay, so Hunter Henry's kind of a two condom play where it's like it's very very safe. I would rather get some touchdown upside from Ertz or John.
Mm.
So I'm kind of
I mean, but
Xing
the
off
savings is
Hunter.
a lot. The thing is that like you go like, oh, Zach Ertz, yeah, touchdown upside, no yak. I mean, you could
No,
easily
yeah,
just go like 4 for 40, but he's 1,300 more than Schoonmaker. I mean, like this is why I say that the
yeah.
punt tight end is a real. It's not a punt. It's not like a $3,200 punt. It's a
Mhm.
true like min salary punt on a guy that's probably going to be out there for 75+% of snaps, even
Mhm.
though they're for a bad team. You're going to probably have to do right now. It's probably much more worthwhile. Would you rather play Schoon? So here's what ends up coming. This comes down to: would you rather play
Uh-huh.
Schoonmaker plus like a Cortland Sutton, right?
Mhm.
A 6K ish wide receiver, or would you rather play Zach Ertz and like a Bears wide receiver? Like it comes down to like
It's not even a Bears wide receiver. We got to find a low 4K, high 3K guy. And we
right,
didn't mention any of those guys for a reason. They don't exist.
right.
So yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I mean, every single time I run an optimal this morning over the last hour and a half, and I lock in this guy, lock in that guy, take out that guy, Schoonmaker's in 100% of the lineups.
The last guy I want to mention, because if you told me this like 3 or 4 years ago, it'd be shocked that it wouldn't be the top thing that we talked about.
I agree with you in advance.
Okay, it's going to be
Yeah.
the same thing I said about DeAndre
Yeah.
Hopkins.
Yeah.
The Chiefs have a 27-point implied total against the Panthers,
Yeah.
and Travis Kelce is
5,800.
only 5,800.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're looking at these 5K wide receivers. If there's a way to split up, this is where going cheap at running back could help us. We could have 5 guys in our lineup between 5K and 6K. I think it's probably buildable, right? Let's say, Javonte, Brian Robinson, Cortland Sutton, Jawan Jennings, Travis Kelce. Those are 5 guys who can be between 5 and 6K who might be able to fit into a lineup.
Right. Let's go to DST, which doesn't matter as much. The current cheap defense du jour, the Bears against the Vikings, 2,500. You also have the Giants, I guess, against the Bucks. You have, you can always play the Titans against the Texans. I mean, those are cheapish, but right now the projectable, cheap defense, chalk defense is probably the Bears. But if I typically don't care if I'm going to spend the money in my cash lineup on something else other than defense. But I mean, I'd actually play the Vikings, and to me, that's where the defenses you play is in that game. Playing the Vikings defense against Caleb Williams, playing the Texans defense against Will Levis, playing the Broncos defense against Gardner Minshew, right? Playing the Dolphins defense against Drake May. That's kind of like
spend the $100 on the Broncos. But no, Dolphins are checked off. Dolphins are on my list, but the Broncos are only $100 more.
Right. But you may not have the money. I mean, set the 700
no,
to get
I don't think I'm gonna have the money.
Prayers to the Broncos. I'll find the 700 to spend somewhere, right? I mean, I'm assuming.
Well, we need it at wide receiver.
Right.
We're gonna need it to spend to not pay 2 Bears wide receivers.
Right. So let's say I do the thing where I want to play 3 5K wide receivers. So I have Jennings, Hopkins, and Sutton.
Okay.
So if we go here in lineup HQ, and I just see what the optimal would be for that right now, where if you wanted to play McCaffrey, you would play Geno Smith at quarterback, right? So you have Schoonmaker, Bears, McCaffrey, Connor, Achane. This is not a bad lineup. I mean,
what if you X out McCaffrey? How many points are we giving up if we X out McCaffrey? It probably goes up to
as of right now, this lineup is 143.97. If we get rid of McCaffrey, 140, not even a point.
There you go.
And we're playing basically we're not playing Schoonmaker. We're getting up to Daniels and Brian Robinson. And you could swap out here instead of.
And if the Bears, because there's so many low totals on the board, we could play Schoonmaker, and if you want to spend up on that DST, to get some more interception opportunity, we'll get some more fumble opportunity, get some more sacks, I wouldn't do it. I would go with the Bears because I spend down on defense as it is.
Right.
But if you're uncomfortable playing a defense against a team that doesn't turn the ball over very much and will still score over 20 points, I could understand not playing the Bears.
Yeah, I'm liking these lineups. I'm liking, but let's say we could even put, even with McCaffrey in, I don't.
Even McCaffrey in, there's a good lineups.
To avoid and play the 3-5. I don't mind playing Geno Smith.
That's fine.
At quarterback.
That's fine.
And if you say, I want to play A-Rich instead for 100 less, okay, go for it. Right? This lineup right now in our projections is 143.97. Are the true optimal, which includes that like Bears receivers, is 146. Right? 146, and you're playing Daniels, but there's no way, dude.
There's no way Allen and Odunze there's no way Odunze and Allen are both scoring 12 at the same time.
No, right.
It's not happening.
And if I had to choose between the two, I think I play Odunze over Allen.
There's a lot more upside there.
Right. But I truthfully, I don't want to play any Bears receiver in my lineup.
I don't want to play a Bear in my lineup.
Right.
Outside of the DST, I don't want to play a Bear.
Okie doke. So, nice little first look for the Week 12 slate. DFS on DraftKings. Alex, you got nothing else going on. You played NBA DFS yesterday. You have so little going on.
I have so little going on. I unboxed Madden 25. I played an NBA DFS slate.
A poker tournament.
But it's good. And I did play some poker tournaments last night. I played a late night. Global Poker always has overlay on their $50, $30, and $20 tournaments after 9 p.m. So I did that. But yeah, I'm not really writing. I'm on your show. I'll get back to the football stuff on Saturday night. I'll take a quick gander at injuries on Sunday morning and we'll play. But otherwise, I'm hibernating until baseball outside of this. Getting in some I'll get in some Hall of Fame arguments on social media out of boredom because I got nothing else to do. I'm reading a book. I'm reading Why We Love Football by Joe Posnanski, who wrote a couple really good baseball books, and I'm really enjoying this. So yeah, this is what I'm doing. I'm reading a book, and I'm teaching 2 classes, which puts a lot on my plate as it is.
Well, I'm not hibernating here because tomorrow I'll be on with Derek Carty to talk about props and pick 'em. Then Friday with Bobby Gomes, talk about GPP strategy. So tune in then. Obviously, later today, 5 p.m. Eastern, we got NBA Grinders Live and Crunch Time. And you can get everything here, all of our tools, all of our projections, our ownership, our props and pick 'em stuff, our statistical projections, our premium content, our IQ tools, everything here. Sim Labs. Get Sim Labs also. All of our DFS simulations for one low price. Combo premium. You get all the sports, all the everything. Click on the link in the description. Get $40 off your first month. But if you're not going to do that, you can do something that's free, and that's hit that like button on your way out the door. Hit the thumbs for me. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Hit the notification bell to always know when we go live, because I'm here for you Tuesday through Friday, 11 o'clock Eastern, talking about all things you're thinking about in daily fantasy, props, and pick 'em on RotoGrinders Today.